Dan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So for people who think that these tax increases will not impact them, you say no way, that these tax increases will impact everyone.
Yes, these tax increases will impact everyone simply because you can't tax the rich enough. You can't tax corporations enough to be able to cover this type of spending. And let me say this, the infrastructure bill, and we can put infrastructure in quotes, there's only $620 billion that are specifically allocated to infrastructure, which is only about a quarter or so of all the spending that's going on. So what's the rest? Well, the rest is, I guess, the wish list of a lot of people in Congress that see an opportunity to keep rolling out the pork. And that is very, very dangerous for the American people.
You know, Dan, it heartens me that you're a professor, by the way, because there aren't many professors that speak common sense. So obviously you're a diamond in the rough. But listen, I want to ask you about the effects of the tax cut on small business in particular, because we saw small business in the first 3 years of the Trump administration before the CCP virus crashed the global economy. Small business just soared with tax and regulatory relief. Do you think that small business is going to be most vulnerable to these tax cuts, particularly raising that corporate rate?
Yes, they will be. And the reason for that is so many small businesses are struggling to get through the pandemic. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So we're getting there. So the worst possible thing that you can do is hit them with tax increases. And that's what Joe Biden is talking about doing. It's not just the corporate tax, which he's talking about raising from 21% to 28%. He's also talking about what's called pass-through entities. Those are specifically small businesses.
Right.
And he has said that taxes are going to go up there too, which of course is going to go right back on what he told everybody is if you're making less than $400,000, your taxes will not go up. That is simply not going to be true.
Right.
Yeah, we actually have that up on the screen now, what you were just talking about. Something else that you mentioned is what the Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, is proposing, and that's this vehicle mileage tax. Obviously, everyone would be impacted by that as well.
Well, that's an interesting one, and he's started to back off of that position because so many people were jumping on it. For example, to say, wait a minute, anybody who drives, those are only the people making over $400,000? Because if not, you have people that are going to be paying a tax, which you promised they wouldn't. So now this mileage tax that was being floated around as opposed to a gasoline tax, you have to scratch your head and say, wait a minute, weren't we trying to incentivize people to use electric vehicles? Well, now we're going to tax them too. So anything that you tax, you will get less of. So if you want to start taxing miles, you will get people driving less miles. So make up your mind where you want to go here.
Yeah, then you have the long-haul truckers who would obviously be impacted by it, and then that would then trickle down to products and services. So it's just a never-ending who will be impacted by it.
Unfortunately.
All right. Thank you so much, Dan. Great to have you with us again.
Thank you.
All right. Well, coming